right, Jessi Pierce, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm glad we got this figured out here.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a little annoying, but we
Yeah.
got it. We're here
That
now. We're
was-
talking, and I know Andy's
Yeah.
very excited to talk to you about some big hockey topics.
I guess this will be great. I love talking hockey anytime. I'm excited to be here.
So we're just gonna start it off here. You do a podcast called Bar Down Beauties.
I do.
You just
Yeah,
want to
it's
run through quickly like how it all started and stuff like that.
yeah. So I've been writing for the NHL for the past 4 seasons, and in that time, I had met Fred, who's our producer, because he previously worked for the Wild. So he kind of approached me with the idea of starting a podcast. He's like, I love kind of your takes, and obviously being around the hockey team all the time. Plus, there's just very few female voices out there, especially in sports podcasting. So he kind of told me, let's do this. I said, let's find another host. And Alexis works with the Wild as well, with the Wild Radio Network, my co-host. Approached her about the idea, and she said, sure. And we ordered some microphones and Amazon and started recording. So that was it was a whirlwind, but it's been a lot of fun for sure.
Very nice, very nice. So you kind of starting out. I read that you did some lacrosse as well.
I did. I played lacrosse in high school, and then even a little bit in college. We had a club team in college that I was the captain and president of. And then I covered lacrosse then. I actually was hired and moved out to Syracuse, New York, where lacrosse is huge. And the tough thing was, and that's kind of probably why I moved back home, it would be like somebody from California covering hockey here, right? Like it's just like,
yeah.
this isn't right. Even if you played, even if you know a little bit, it's their world out there. But it was fun. I mean, I love watching lacrosse. It's probably my second favorite sport next to hockey. And it's so similar to hockey. It's a lot of the same speed and the aggressiveness and the toughness, all of that. So it's fun to watch. But hockey will always be my number one. So I had to come back home and chase that dream instead.
So I gotta ask, did you just absolutely deck people when you played, just like go at them, just like whacking them with the stick, just beating them up?
Only once, and that's because she hit my knee on purpose. So I was a defenseman, so I'm a feisty person.
Self-defense at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she smacked it, and it was like my knee that I had a brace on, and I was like, oh, you were going down. I won't step down to anybody. So I shoved her, and we were both ejected from the game. This was in college. So it was like, it was worth it though. I would have won the fight, I think.
All right.
What did you have just crazy experiences in hockey?
I didn't play hockey, so I just loved it. I know. No, I would have been a great hockey player. I actually played basketball, and I was not good at all. No, I can barely skate. In fact, I'm trying to learn a little bit more. I feel kind of like a fraud, right? This person over here talking hockey all the time, but she never played.
You don't need to play, but I'm telling you, you played lacrosse. I feel like you could get out there and
I think so.
Physical lacrosse is I feel like you would have probably been decking people.
Oh heck yeah!
As well.
Oh yeah! I mean, for sure, I would have been like the Marcus Foligno, maybe. That could have been my role.
Don't even. That's a future guest of ours coming up on Sunday.
Nice.
We're just going to talk to Alexis about that.
Yep.
You have to. I thought you were mentioning future guests, we're getting Marcus Foligno.
I know, that's what I thought too. I was like, dang, look at you guys go.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, anybody want to reach out? Anybody know Marcus Foligno? Hit us up. We're always available.
The guy is a freaking tank on the ice. He cares none about just decking people, getting people's faces.
Right.
We need that. The Wild, talking about a little bit about Wild, they need that physical presence on the ice, and Marcus Foligno just brings that to the team and just is,
and not only that, he showed he can score too. He brought more to it this year. I mean, he definitely upped his game, and he's such a leader in the locker room too. I mean, he's probably one of my favorite Wild players just because he's so nice and he's always such a great quote. And he's just a leader and such a presence in that room. I would love to see him with a letter on his jersey at some point. I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. And going off from that, talking about the Wild, how disappointed were you? I know that there was some circumstances around this pandemic, around COVID, that kind of warranted maybe the season to be suspended, but were you a little disappointed to see the season end all of a sudden? Not end, but just see it stop, being the Wild were so hot?
It's hard on so many different levels. First of all, that's my livelihood, right? That's my job. So it was like, oh, okay, so I just don't go to work. The Wild were actually preparing to play Vegas that night when they canceled. So it was like I had gotten up, we were going to go to morning skate, and then 5 minutes before we were supposed to be at morning skate, they had said that they were going to pause the season. So yeah, I mean, from that perspective, it sucks, right? And then just in general, from a sports perspective, right? Like, it's so weird that sports have stopped. It's just a very, very bizarre feeling, if it wasn't already weird enough. And then yeah, from the Wild side of things, it's going to be really tough to regain that momentum that they had. You know, if the season were to resume again, there's so many different possibilities as to what they're considering doing. You know, we've been able to talk to a couple of the players via Zoom interviews, which has been fantastic. The Minnesota Wild PR have been great with that. Yep. And a lot of the guys have said that too. You know, Mikko Koivu said, I think it'll be hard for everybody, even like a Philadelphia Flyers team, right? Like, who knows if they're going to be able to come back out with that same talent. I mean, the other thing is teams get players back from injury. Colorado was ravaged with injuries and everybody kind of healed up, which is great for them. It's not great for opponents that are still fighting for a spot and, you know, having to play against their full team. So yeah, I mean, of course there are bigger things than sports and bigger things than hockey, but at the same time, it's definitely disappointing. And I'm going to be really curious to see what does end up happening as far as resuming the season and starting next season. I mean, I think that it's becoming a stronger possibility that they will look to resume and start next year later as a result.
Yeah, I know Gary Bettman, though, he's very passionate about ending this season, though, and crowning a Stanley Cup champion for the 2019-2020 season.
Right.
But, I mean, unfortunately, he doesn't have necessarily the authority to full out start up the season again, but without government permission. But he's really an avid supporter and he wants to get this season ended. I mean, I think we all do, but I mean, we'll see what happens, honestly.
Well,
right.
I think it just give people one more reason just to hate Gary Bettman.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody hates every commissioner of every sport.
I know.
I mean, you watch the draft, NFL draft, and people are just going after Goodell, still booing him on the meeting virtually. I'm like, that adds to the environment.
Right. That's part of it, right? That's the joy of it.
Yeah, exactly. Commissioner.
All right. So, big hockey person, obviously, as we mentioned before. Do you have your Minnesota hockey Mount Rushmore that you would say?
So are you talking Minnesota born or
Minnesota born players?
Okay, I would say, I mean, Herb Brooks, right? He's obviously you can't go wrong. And I go really old school. I'm a little bit older than you guys anyway, but I love
I wouldn't have noticed, honestly.
It's fine. I had Wes Walsh today tell me he thought I looked 22, and I was like, yes, we'll go with that. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
Of course.
That's a huge compliment.
Yeah, exactly. No, so I would say Herb Brooks for sure. I think John Masich as well, just because he's so legendary here. As far as current players or more current players, TJ Oshie. I just love him. I just think he's such a good dude. I think he's achieved a lot. He's accomplished so much. I mean, Stanley Cup winner. That's always huge. And then that's 4, right? You get 4 for Mount Rushmore? Is that right?
Last time I would go. Checked, at least.
I think, right. I don't know. Who else would I maybe go with? Anders Lee, just because I really am a big fan of his as well. So that would probably be my 4.
So going off of that, I just have to say, how can you not include Kyle Rao? I have this deep
and he's young. Those guys are my age, so that's Kyle Rao seems. So that's true.
This is where the
heavily disagree.
This is where the beef comes in. I just Kyle Rao. Me growing up, just 100% was that player for me.
You're Lakeville.
No.
Right.
Eden Prairie.
No, Eden Prairie.
Eden Prairie. That's right. Kyle Rao's Eden Prairie with Nick Seeler.
I first real experience at the state hockey tournament was seeing Kyle Rao's double, triple overtime goal, whatever it was, and just being at the X till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and just fell in love with him from that moment. And then he went on to play with the Gophers and just lit it up. And probably some of the best moments in his hockey career, just being that center stone for the Gophers and just And then when he got drafted and ended up going to the Wild and playing in the affiliates and stuff like that, he just needs.
I feel like we should have a serenade music in the background as you're talking about your affection for your
love that
your love letter to Kyle Rao.
Maybe you should be asking him what scented candles he has.
You know what?
That's a good candle, guys. I highly recommend it.
Scented candle.
It'd be majestic. honestly. I'm just picturing like his bedroom right now. It's just,
Dude.
it's just glorious.
Oh my gosh, man.
No, I mean, I think Kyle certainly has like a place in Minnesota high school hockey lore.
Yes.
I would agree, but you know, it's kind of like a Dave Spihar, like great high school. Like that was an amazing. Do you guys know Dave Spihar? No,
I do
He's
not.
old.
I've heard of him.
Okay.
I do not. That's
He
gotta
had-
be before my time.
It was before my time. I want to say it was like 80s maybe. But he had scored all these legendary goals in the high school tournament. He didn't have much of a career after the high school tournament, but up north team. I'm completely blanking on it right now.
There's
Not
too many of
Duluth.
them.
I can't
MAG.
remember. It might have been Duluth. It might have been the
Roseau,
Hounds.
Like,
No, it might have been Duluth East.
okay.
But Google him. I highly recommend it because
Yeah.
he's a huge, big on Minnesota high school hockey. He did a lot of great things. So, but that's what kind of Kyle Rao would be to me. He was great for the Gophers too. I just think again there are better Gophers that have come down. Blake Wheeler, I forgot about him. He would also be on my like higher list as well.
And you got
He's
Zach
up there,
Parise
but-
too. I mean, let's
Zach
not forget
Parise
about
was
him.
not a Gopher player, so I'm gonna have to heavily
He was
disagree
a
with you.
Minnesota-born player.
You know
Am
what?
I right?
Based on what
I
I
mean,
saw,
he is. Yeah, he's from
with him
Bloomington.
playing with the Wild, I'm just going out on a limb here. Just know what?
I disagree. I think there are probably like 10 better players than Kyle Rao in terms of Minnesota-born players. Maybe like Jessi was saying, Minnesota high school hockey.
Yeah.
but
well, you know what?
Which there are a lot of guys that could fall into that classification, right? Like where they're a tremendous high school career and they were tremendous high school players, but
I'm just gonna say it right now. Like I have this deep hatred for the Fighting Sioux and now the Fighting Hawks. Just North Dakota just doesn't sit well with me, and
That's fair.
it's just gonna be that way.
So you don't like Zach or TJ?
See, it's not like I don't like them. It's just
can't
that
hate
like based on where
Or
they,
Brock Besser
Brock
or any
Besser,
of
he's a
the
Burnsville guy. That's where I went to high school, guy.
You know what?
Yeah.
Just it is. College determines.
It's
everything.
hilarious because we put Brock Besser on the cover of our Minnesota Hockey Journal, which I edit.
Yep.
A couple years ago when he was at North Dakota. We didn't make it like because we know how Minnesotans feel about North Dakota. I'm one of those Minnesotans too, but there was still some green, right? Like there's still some green in there because he's in their locker room. It's a really cool shot. We got so much hate mail for that. Like they all seem to forget that he's from Minnesota. Like he's a Minnesota kid. He played high school here, everything. Like they were so mad because why would you ever put a North Dakota? And we're like, he's not from North, he plays there. Like it's not a big deal. Like it was just so bizarre. And then of course they all love him again when he gets drafted and claim him, right? Like, oh yeah, no, Brock,
course,
he's the best. Like,
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, I get it. I do. Like when I was around for the WCHA, the old WCHA, and those were the best games.
Yeah,
like,
they were
amazing.
must-watch hockey games.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I wouldn't go out. Like I was in college and I would not go out until after I could like stream the Gopher games or find the Gopher games against North Dakota. And that was,
Well, you wouldn't just watch it almost for the game itself. That was entertaining, but just to see like the handshake line at the end of the game, you don't know if
like when Blake Wheeler gets like punched.
that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There was
No,
always some
best
sort
game.
of punching brawl or something. Someone just says one thing and there you go.
Yeah.
It's a brawl and it was great.
That's
And
hockey, baby.
Ever
Yeah,
since then, I
exactly.
have no respect for any North Dakota, anything like that.
Hey,
so
I mean, but it's
I'm
all
just-
on part of
I'm-
the game of hockey, man. I mean, there was probably some Minnesota guys that probably got a little bit
Yeah, but
too aggressive.
but that's what makes rivalries like the best, and that's why it was like the best rivalry. Just must-watch hockey.
Right. Oh, 100%.
So
Totally agree.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of the WCHA, like going back to that, like that was like even when the Gophers played like teams like Alaska Anchorage, it was still super exciting. And now it's just kind of disappointing to see like Mariucci half filled for hockey games. And it's still like I still watch them, I still follow them, but it's just hard to watch. It's like it's the Big Ten in hockey is not the same as the WCHA. I don't know how you feel about that, but
I'll play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
So a big, again, college hockey. I was an even bigger college hockey fan than NHL fan for growing up, but I work with USA Hockey, and so growing the game is huge, right? I think it was tough, and it's a tough pill to swallow when things change. Nobody likes change, especially hockey people, right? Like we love our sport. This is our sport. It's our niche thing. However, you're never going to get more exposure or more growth if you don't change things up. So I think the Big Ten is a good thing for college hockey. It's allowing more exposure. I mean, to have the support of an actual legitimate conference at the NCAA Division I level, that's huge. That cannot be understated, right? Like that's huge. I mean, and not just financially speaking, it's just you gain all this exposure. And again, it's growing the game. And as far as the fan stuff goes, I mean, it's disheartening and it's hard to see. However, you could go buy a ticket and help and, go to the game then. If, I think you can't just sit at home and gripe about it. And it's hard too, I think, because people don't want to move on. It's kind of like, even like it's not coming back. Like we have to just accept it, embrace it, accept it. And it's still really good hockey. I mean, the Gophers have had some down years, they're struggling, but it's still good hockey. I love the NCHC. I think they're a great conference. That's been a really fun conference to watch. And now it's all the best teams. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's great. So, I mean, it's good. I know it's hard. And I first one to say I love the old WCHA. I miss it sometimes, but in the grand scheme, the amount of growth it's providing. I mean, LIU now has a hockey program out east. So I mean, it's exciting. It's a good thing for hockey. Illinois will probably have a team. I mean, it's just it's great. It's exciting. I think so. It'll get better. And now they're starting to expand out west. They got Arizona State that just started. Yep. Arizona has definitely been in talks and stuff like that.
Even USC has been in talks. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Starting to get SEC.
Well, and I can't remember who said it. It was an NHLer. I want to say maybe Jack Eichel, but he was like, "You're telling me I could go play hockey at Division I level and live in Arizona and go to ASU? Like, why wouldn't you want to go play there, right? Like, that sounds amazing."
Practices in their flip flops and shorts and everything. And this guy's
it'd be weird.
When I went to the U, I just see hockey players bundling up, walking into the arena. It's I know that's technically hockey environment.
Right.
You're cold, but I mean, if you can go play hockey in a warm environment all year round, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
But I think you do make a good point in that, it's not coming back. So you really can only look at the positives of it. And adding Notre Dame to it, I think was really helpful. I think they're just a prominent college hockey team, and to have Illinois join, that'd be huge. I know Northwestern has been kind of thrown around, mentioned. I don't think they'll be that close, but I think that'd be ideal. But yeah, speaking of moving on, it's just people that my dad still like this in a way, and you might be tuning in right now. So, but there's still people that are upset about the North Stars leaving and them being sold in the early '90s, and it happened. It sucks. But now we have the Minnesota Wild, and a team that we can watch and support and rally behind. And I've loved the Wild growing up, so I can't complain. And all you can do is look forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I brought up the North Stars. I had that discussion earlier this week on a different podcast where it was you hold on to the tradition, and the North Stars are such a part of the culture and the fabric here in Minnesota, no question. But we can't bring all of that back. No, we don't need the North Stars colors. You don't need it's just it's in the past. Let's move on. The Wild are your team now. That's who you cheer for. And Norm Green sucks. Sure, fine, whatever. It just move on. We just got to move on. Respect tradition and respect all of that. But it's because my mom's the same way. Yeah. She doesn't think hockey doesn't belong in Dallas. It doesn't belong in Texas. And do you want 6 teams? Yeah. Do you just want 6 teams again? What?
Exactly.
Yeah. My parents are definitely just like that. They met at a North Star game. Funny enough.
Oh, cute.
My mom used to be on the North Star fan club, so she'd go around with some of the players and stuff like that. She's got a whole bunch of autographs just laying.
That's awesome.
In the and stuff like that. And she hates the Wild with a deathly passion. And it's just one of those things that she's never going to move on from.
I suppose. So, you got plenty of those people too, I think. It's hard.
Yeah. All right, well, Jessi, we're running low on time, but before we let you go, I want to run through a rapid fire segment with you where I ask some quick would you rather questions, hypotheticals, some crazy questions. I hope you're ready for it. I hope you're excited for it. I'm going to
bring it on. Yeah, that'd be fun.
So question number 1, would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
Rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
Yes.
The restaurant or the restaurant, right?
The restaurant, yes.
100%. Give me Olive Garden, obviously.
Yeah. That's been the popular answer. Yep. If you were given an all expenses paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
No.
Okay. Wow. Most people have said yes, actually.
It's been funny.
It's crazy.
No, I'm good.
For the free drinks, but I mean, it's Cleveland.
Yeah.
We totally understand.
Yeah. Right.
No right. Cleveland, if you're watching, but
their sports suck. I'm just saying it right now. Putting them on blast. You have to. Just
moving on. Hot dish or casserole?
Casserole.
Nice. All right. If a movie was made about your life, who would play you?
I've asked this question to so many people, and I've never thought about it for myself. God, let's go. I'm trying to think of who my favorite actress is. What's the girl? Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Okay.
I was going to
Yeah.
go with
Cool.
another Jennifer. I would say Jennifer Aniston.
Oh,
I was gonna go
I
with her
would-
too, just
that
because
would
she's
be-
just such a beauty queen, and she
Oh,
just looks
yeah.
better with age. She's my. Let's go. Let's switch with her.
Andy
I like
is
her.
All right,
just
there we
trying
go.
to
Let's
flirt.
go. All right.
Would you rather have a head the size of a tennis ball or the size of a watermelon?
Oh God, I don't know. You'd have to find a whole new set of shirts for the watermelon, right?
I
Yeah,
mean,
but you might have a bigger brain. You might be smart.
You might.
that is true.
Maybe.
But Stewie can pull it off. If Stewie can pull it off, I feel like
But he's a cartoon
I mean,
character.
yeah,
Come on.
Yeah,
like
but,
let's go with watermelon. It's a little bit more proportional,
All right,
almost, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Reasonable.
fair enough.
All right. Minneapolis or St. Paul?
St. Paul.
For sure. In self-defense, how many fifth graders could you fend off at one time?
Like with a bat,
I mean,
or like pushing.
I would
that
say
was violent.
I would,
That was
I would
really
say
violent.
it has
No
to be.
weapons,
It
just-
has to be hands.
just hands only.
Just
A bat. Wow.
all natural.
I don't know, like 20.
Okay. Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's higher
All
than.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
I've got 2 kids, right? I know how to like keep
you
kids
wanna
out of
keep
the
'em
way.
down.
So
I definitely
yeah.
want to walk down the street with her now. Like I would feel a lot safer. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Would you rather wear a shirt that's kind of itchy or a pair of shoes with a small pebble in it?
Pair of shoes with a small pebble in it.
Okay. What's more realistic, ghosts or aliens?
Aliens.
Awesome.
They were confirmed real, so just
No,
putting
that was just UFOs.
I know.
Yay.
Which is wild. Like, what a world that we're living in, and that's like subtly slipped in there. Like, yep, UFOs, real.
That's crazy, but doesn't confirm aliens. It's just maybe. We'll see. All right, last one here. You have one sport to watch for the rest of your life. What is it?
Hockey.
Yeah,
It has
of
to be.
course. Can't go wrong
yeah.
with hockey.
Yeah.
Well, again, we thank you so much, Jessi, for coming on with us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. And again, anybody you want to donate, go to www.10000takesmn.com/SodaStream. You also find the auction link there, and also go to sodasick.com where you can get free shipping on all products using the code SodaStream. And make sure to check out Jessi Pierce's podcast, Bar Down Beauties, which is also sponsored by Soda Stick. So
I was gonna say I love Soda Stick. They're the best.
Yeah.
great,
Great
clothing,
merch.
All right, well,
Yeah.
thanks, Jessi. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Good
Yeah,
job.
Jessi.
Bye.